Chapter 8, the section on arising by Dharma. Subhuti, what do you think? If someone filled 3,000 great thousand worlds with the 7 treasures and give them away in charity, would that person gain a great deal of merit? Subhuti replied, Very much so, world-honored one. Why? The nature of that merit is not in merit itself. Therefore, the Tathagata says that this merit is vast. In Buddhism, 3,000 great thousand worlds refers to an extremely vast conception of the universe. One great thousand world contains 1,000 middle thousand worlds. Each middle thousand world contains 1,000 small thousand worlds. And each small thousand world is made up of 1,000 solar systems or galaxies. Therefore, the 3,000 great thousand worlds represent an unimaginably vast cosmic unit, symbolizing the boundlessness of the entire universe. The 7 treasures is a term often used in Buddhism to describe precious items or wealth. Specifically, it refers to gold, silver, sapphire, crystal, or jade, giant clams, pearl shell, agate, and coral. In Buddhist scriptures, these 7 treasures are often used to symbolize supreme wealth. This is a question that the Buddha poses to Subhuti. He asks, What do you think? If someone were to give exceedingly vast amount of wealth away in generosity, would that person acquire a great amount of merit? Subhuti responds, Very much so, world-honored one. This would result in an immense amount of merit. We often think that giving away a small amount of money or goods brings us good karma or merit. Some people offer a small donation, few bananas, and expect significant benefits. Here, however, the Buddha is talking about someone who gives away vast amounts of treasure that would exceed the small offerings we might think of, naturally leading to great merit. Then the Buddha clarifies, Why? The nature of that merit is not in merit itself. That is why the Tathagata says that the merit is vast. He explains that the merit derived from such an act of giving has no inherent self-nature. It is not something fixed. For instance, today, if someone is cold and you give him a sweater, that person is fortunate to receive it from you. However, if it were a scorching hot day and you forced someone to wear a sweater, they might hit you out of anger. Thus, what we call merit can be beneficial in one situation and a burden in another, depending on the circumstances, because merit has no fixed nature. In other words, merit is impermanent and not inherently self-existent. The Buddha says, This merit is not in itself merit, implying that true merit is beyond worldly benefits. The real merit, or the ultimate merit, is wisdom, enlightenment. This wisdom, which transcends the worldly realm, is the greatest achievement. The Buddha encourages merit-making as a form of spiritual practice, but he also points out that the true value lies in the realization of wisdom. If, moreover, there were someone who, in this sutra, were to uphold even as few as 4 lines of verse and teach them to others, this person's merit would surpass that of the previous giver. The Buddha emphasizes the importance of wisdom. He points out that if someone understands even a small portion of the Diamond Sutra, just 4 lines, and shares it with others, the merit of this act surpasses the merit of giving away 3,000 great thousand world full of treasure. Why, Subhuti, all the Buddhas and the Dharma of Anuttara Samyaksambodhi arise from this sutra? The Buddha explains that all Buddhas of the past, present, and future, as well as the Dharma of unsurpassed perfect enlightenment, Anuttara Samyaksambodhi, arise from the teachings of this sutra. The Buddha of this era, Sakyamuni Buddha, for example, attained enlightenment in this way. He was the 4th Buddha in this current world cycle, Kalpa, called the Bhadra Kalpa. In this Kalpa, 1,000 Buddhas will emerge, with Maitreya being the 5th in the future. This Kalpa spans an immensely long period, encompassing countless years. The Buddha says that all who attain Buddhahood, achieving the ultimate realization of enlightenment, emerge from the teachings of the Diamond Sutra. The wisdom that arises from understanding and internalizing these teachings leads to enlightenment. The Buddha uses the Diamond Sutra as a representative text to convey that all Buddhas and their wisdom arise from this essential teaching. Subhuti, what is called the Buddha Dharma is not the Buddha Dharma. In this statement, the Buddha seemingly negates what he has just said. He first said the merit is vast from practicing the act of giving. Then he emphasized the importance of the Dharma and the merit it brings. Yet now he says that what is called the Buddha Dharma is not the Buddha Dharma. What does this mean? The realization of enlightenment, awakening to ultimate truth, is not something that can be concretely grasped or defined. The Buddha is suggesting that if someone claims to possess the Dharma, they have already missed the mark. The true nature of the Dharma is beyond words and concepts, beyond anything that can be intellectually understood or communicated. The genuine Dharma is found in the direct experience of awakening, which is beyond form and beyond attachment. This paradoxical nature is a hallmark of the Diamond Sutra, which presents teachings that transcend conventional understanding. Just as a truly wise person does not consider themselves wise, a true Buddha does not cling to the notion of being a Buddha. If one becomes attached to the concept of Dharma, they have already deviated from the true path. This is the unique feature of the Diamond Sutra. The wisdom it presents is so profound that it leaves no trace. It negates even itself. A great teacher, having successfully guided others, must remain humble and unassuming, lest they fall into the trap of pride and attachment. Some Confucian scholars in later eras, such as Gu Tinglin during the Qing dynasty, criticized the Buddha's teachings for being overly paradoxical, dismissing them as circular reasoning. He advised students against reading Buddhist texts, likening them to a bucket of water being poured back and forth. Ultimately, nothing is gained. He saw the phrase, "What is called the Buddha Dharma is not the Buddha Dharma," as evidence of this circularity. The key point of this 8th chapter is to highlight the importance of wisdom as the ultimate merit, illustrating that all holy beings arise through the practice of Dharma. The chapter concludes with a poetic summary. The splendid world is like a game of chess. Human and heavenly blessings are wasted in delusion. It turns out that the Buddha's teachings are simple and few, but who will understand once freed from bonds and attachments? The splendid world is like a game of chess. In this world, the greatest fortune one can have is to be an emperor. Many have dreamed of becoming one. Emperors in ancient times had immense fortune. But when we read history, we realize that being an emperor was one of the most painful roles. Even Emperor Kangxi of the Qing dynasty once expressed his own deep suffering. Look in history, how many emperors can young people name? Not even 20. Great powers, supreme wealth, vast and beautiful world, looking back from 1,000 years later, is like a game of chess, sometimes winning, sometimes losing, but eventually it all passes away. Human and heavenly blessings are wasted in delusion. Emperor Wu of Liang dynasty once asked the Buddhist master Bodhidharma about the merit he would gain from building many temples and providing to monks. Bodhidharma laughed at him, saying, "These are just minor fruits of human and heavenly realms, causes that have flaws." He cautioned Emperor Wu, saying that his actions, while praiseworthy, would only lead to rebirth in a higher realm, such as heavenly realm, not to ultimate liberation. After enjoying heavenly pleasures, one would still fall back into lower realms. The small fruits of the human and heavenly realms are limited blessings, not the fruit without flaws, which refers to the ultimate unblemished liberation. So although doing good deeds may lead to wealth and power in the next life, wisdom can be lost in the process. And wisdom, prajna, can lead to breaking free from the endless cycle of birth, death, and rebirth within the 6 realms, leading to ultimate liberation or enlightenment. There is a story in Zen, Chan Buddhism, about a master named Weishan, who was the founder of one of the 5 major Zen schools, the Huaiyang school. Weishan was an emperor for 3 lifetimes, and he nearly lost his spiritual insight and wisdom from those lifetimes. So he gave it all up. The spiritual insight here was not about having supervision or ability to fly, but rather wisdom. Wisdom is the greatest spiritual power. Weishan almost lost this enlightened wisdom from his lifetimes in human realm, to be able to break free from the endless cycle of birth, death, and rebirth within the 6 realms, leading to ultimate liberation or enlightenment. If one practices Buddhism just to gain blessings or a better future life, although it is possible, it is not the ultimate goal. Therefore, the blessings of the human and heavenly realms are a wasteful delusion. It turns out that the Buddha's teachings are simple and few. This is a saying from Zen Buddhism. After Master Linji attained enlightenment, he exclaimed, "It turns out that the Buddha's teachings are just this, not much more." The essence of the Buddha's teachings is just a little bit, nothing complicated or excessive. But who will understand once freed from bonds and attachments? What is the purpose of the Buddha's teachings? We are bound by all kinds of worldly troubles, emotions, and desires, and we need to free ourselves from the attachments and constraints of the 3 realms, desire, form, and formless realms, to return to our original true self. This is the ultimate goal of Buddhism. So, the Buddha's teachings, though vast and complex in the 3 baskets of scriptures, ultimately aim to help us break free from all these attachments and entanglements. This is the essence of the Buddha's teachings.